last time on Oz Hour?
Okay, last time on Oz Hour, they go to this place that has all these little graves and ends up being Jack the Pumpkinhead. And they talk with him and hang out with him and talk about Ozma and her birthday. And then they move on and find this lady who has a rug bear that choked on a fishbone and then got brought back to life and now has no organs. And then they move past there and make it to they meet actually the lion and the hungry tiger, and they say hello, hi, miss you, little reunion, fun time, recap, all that type of stuff. And then we go into the Emerald City, and Shaggy Man is so amazed and wowed, and he has just a beautiful little moment of being pampered and being washed and self-reflection, and we love that for him. And then we go and see Ozma almost, and then at the end.
Hi there, and welcome to Oz Hour, the only place where you can hear everything you never knew about the wonderful and strange land of Oz.
That's right. With the help of some alcohol, we will be discussing each of the 14 books in L. Frank Baum's Wizard of Oz series.
Today, we will be continuing with Book 5, The Road to Oz, covering chapters 20 through 24.
We're your hosts, Birthday Blake Stone.
And Celebration, Wyatt Swangham.
And joining us is our resident Oz initiate,
Jubilee, Hannah Aguirre.
I like that.
Wow, I love that.
Do you feel like it's your Diamond Jubilee?
Yeah.
Do you know what that means?
No.
Then you... Okay, good.
It doesn't matter. It's a feeling. It's a state of mind.
I feel powerful with that name.
So Hannah just played last time on, where she recapped what happened last time on Oz Hour. That only took 57 seconds this week, and I really didn't write too much down. I just felt like it had to be said. Only child murderers die in Oz, and that's what we learn at Jack's house.
That's true.
Also, you said we almost see Ozma at the end. We see her. She's there.
That's right.
Looking
That's
good.
right.
Also,
It felt so abrupt.
you reflected on the whole Dinah's blue bear rug situation as if they went to her house. That was just something that was a story that was told. They
Okay,
didn't
that's
go
what
there
I got
physically.
confused. Okay.
I didn't even notice that. You're
I did
crazy.
get a little confused by that.
It's okay. It's okay. It's not bad.
You're here every week just like us. Well, this week, as always, Wyatt prepared us some special cocktails for Ozma's birthday party. What are we having?
Tonight, we are celebrating with the Birthday Boozer, the recipe for which you can find on our Instagram at Oz Hour Podcast. It looks like milk.
It's icky drippy ippy.
Milk.
All right, let's slurp.
Oh, that's boozy. Chapter 20, Ozma of Oz.
So when we left last time, we see Ozma sitting on her throne, and she is a vision, an absolute PYT.
Yeah, the whole intro to this chapter is just, oh, Ozma's pretty, and no one's ever been more beautiful, which is true, I guess. They're writing it, but it's kind of a little much.
You would think that Ozma had her own love magnet because
Yeah.
she's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but Dorothy hugs her and kisses her. Button Bright sits alongside the princess, and Dorothy's like, "Hey, why didn't you invite me to your birthday?"
Yeah, elephant in the room.
Okay, so she's getting to the
Like,
down and dirty.
first thing she says.
But Ozma's like, "Didn't I? Who do you think mixed all those roads up and set you on your way to Oz?"
Okay.
And I'm like, "Yeah, right."
That's not an invitation.
Dorothy's
That's
like,
annoying.
Dorothy's like, oh,
That's
you
actually
know.
inconvenient.
Dorothy's like, it never crossed my mind that you did that because that's fucking insane. I had a
What?
really bad time on
I
the
feel like
way
you could have helped me all along, even with the soup.
Well, okay. So then Ozma's like, "Yeah, well, I watched you all the way here, and twice I thought I'd have to help you with the magic belt, and
Okay,
both
wait.
times."
Oh, so it's brought up.
Hannah,
Yes.
do you have a guess of when the 2 times Ozma almost interfered were in this book?
Ooh, okay. So my first guess would just be like the soup one because that was
Yeah.
scary.
Scoodlers,
The
correct.
Scoodlers. Ooh, what's another crazy thing that happened?
The Deadly Desert. Well, I'm sorry.
Oh,
We
that's
are on
right.
a
Johnny,
time
do it.
crunch
Johnny,
here.
do it. Okay, thank you.
Johnny,
Yeah.
do it. Johnny, do it. Johnny, be do it.
But both times
I'll say
Ozma's
his
like,
name 3 times.
"Yeah, don't say it a third time." But Ozma's like, "But both times the Shaggy Man was there and he saved you instead. So I didn't have to do anything. I just watched.
No wonder he has the nicest apartment.
Yeah,
I know, right? She's like, he's a good guy.
Dorothy's like, okay, so you know about the Shaggy Man. She's like, do you know who Button Bright is? Like, where'd this kid come from? And Ozma's like, oh no, I didn't know that kid existed until you found him.
Yeah.
No, that kid, he's lost. I don't know.
Yeah.
No.
She's like, no, Button Bright, he
Had
just
nothing
showed
to
up.
do with me.
Yeah, she's like, Polly also just fell off the rainbow right in front of you, so
Yeah.
not my fault either.
What if this
Oh.
was turning into like they are actually like secretly there to kill her, and Ozma's
Oh
like,
my
I have
God.
no idea who those two
Oh my
Yeah.
god, they just needed a way in.
No, but I mean, I get it. Like, they were destined to find each other. Like,
Yeah, it was
Ozma had
meant to
no
be.
interference. But Dorothy's like, by the way, like, I promised King Dox of Foxville and King Kikabray of Duncaton that you'd invite them to your birthday. Ozma's like, oh, it's done. I did that. I knew you wanted me to do that. It's done.
Yeah, she was like, I knew you would want me to do that. And then Dorothy's like, oh, what about the musicer? And Ozma says, no.
Oh my
She's like,
God.
way too noisy.
I-
He's just going to make people uncomfortable.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, the poor. There needs to be a villain origin story about this.
I
know.
know. Oh, we should
my
write that.
Gosh.
Well, Button Bright is like, hey, I like the musicer. And Ozma's like, hey, kid, there's going to be a lot of music. So don't
Yeah.
fucking worry. You're going to get what you want.
You want music? We got music. It's
We
gonna
don't
sound
need a
good.
man to do it.
So Polychrome dances into the room, and Ozma's like, hey, hello, how's it going? The Wizard of Oz is announced. He enters the room. He
Yeah.
greets the kids and stands behind Ozma's throne.
A dried up little old man in all black. It's the wizard.
Yeah, he looks awful, but I mean,
But they both also
Hasn't aged well.
no. Exactly. That's the impression I
smokes.
get.
Everyone else looks exactly the same.
it's been 3 months.
No, seriously.
And then the Shaggy Man enters.
The moment you've all been waiting for.
Yeah, he's in his new shaggy clothes, and he's so
Mm.
lovely. Dorothy just clasps her hands and says,
Oh.
That's it.
She's
Oh.
like so stunned. She's just like, oh. But Button Bright is like, he's still Shaggy, all right. And Ozma is just like, yes, he is. And
Yeah.
you know what? That was my intention when I left him those
Oh.
clothes.
Yeah,
I
she
didn't
picked those
want to
for him.
compromise who he was.
Yeah.
But yeah,
She's always watching. She's God.
she is
Ozma
God
has nothing
at
else to
best.
do. She sits in her
Yeah.
princess bed all day
Watching
looking at her magic
pictures.
picture. She wishes she knew more people. She's just thinking of people she can spy on.
Ozma is Matilda's parents. She's just watching telly.
Oh
all
my
day.
god, yeah, she's just watching telly.
Everyone's just freaked out by her because she already knows everything about them.
Yeah, seriously.
exactly.
It's like when we met Glinda for the first time, and she's like, "No, I know."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, why'd we just tell you then?
Yeah, she's like, yeah,
Oh.
no, in my magic book that writes history as it happens, I knew you were
I
coming.
actually read that
so,
book all the time.
Yeah.
But the Shaggy Man, he's feeling really shy, and he does not want to approach the throne. So like Dorothy takes him by the hand. She's like, "Hey, you belong here. Come on!" And she takes him to Ozma. And Dorothy introduces, "Hey, Ozma, this is the Shaggy Man who owns the Love Magnet." And Ozma welcomes him, and she's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, where did you get that Love Magnet from?" And do you remember the story of how he got the Love Magnet?
It was insane.
An
No.
Eskimo in the Sandwich Islands gave it to him because he was so tired of being loved, and then the
Okay.
Eskimo got eaten by a bear shortly after.
Okay. I know why I didn't remember it.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
Because that's insane.
So Ozma's like, "Hey, where did you get the Love Magnet from?"
The Shaggy Man reddens. He gets real red. He's beet red.
Oh my god.
And then he looks away
He like can't even look her in the face.
and he says, I stole it, ma'am. He stole it.
Why is he Cockney?
Why is he being like that?
He also lied about his accent.
He's an imposter.
Dorothy has a reaction to this. She is like, "How dreadful! Oh, you told me a lie! Oh my goodness!"
Yeah, you said the Eskimo gave it to you. And the Shaggy Man is like, I told the falsehood. That's it.
But I bathed in the truth pond, and so now I tell the truth.
Which I think is just his choice. I don't think
Like
that
he's just being
I-
poetic.
I
Oh,
don't-
He's just
yeah,
like,
exactly.
New year, new me.
Yeah,
I tell the truth
exactly.
now.
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
took
the
one
mountaintop.
bath. I'm good. But it is a question though in my mind because I'm like, so is that magic from the truth pond, or yeah, he just now he decided that he's.
I wish
gonna be
they
that.
just said it was magic from the truth punks. I would like that.
Yeah,
I would like
but-
that better too, but actually, Button Bright lies a little bit sometimes. Like
a
we know
liar.
he's
Oh, I
like later
see what
he's
you
gonna
mean.
like say don't know when he indeed does know, and we know that he knows.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So it's not magic, but
Um.
so the Shaggy Man has decided to take it upon himself, and it feels very allegory to baptism. I'm like, okay, like he's bathed in
Oh,
the waters,
yeah.
and now he comes out and he is pure.
Alfred Baum was a witch.
Yeah, I know. No, it's magic.
But Ozma asks him why he stole the love magnet, and the Shaggy Man tells Ozma he stole it because no one loved him or cared for him, and he wanted to be loved.
Yeah, he stole it from a girl in Butterfield, though. So
Remember
I'm like,
that place he didn't want to go?
Yeah.
So I
if he was
wonder-
lying about some other things.
I know he's a big old liar, but
I don't trust
He's like,
anything
"There
now.
there's a warrant for my arrest in Butterfield County.
Yeah.
but the thing is, the girl in Butterfield who had it, she hated it because all these young men were like fighting over her, and it was really annoying. When he stole it, only one of the guys still loved her, and she was like, "Oh, actually, like you love me, cool." So they're married now. So
Oh.
happy story in that way.
Yeah, L. Frank Baum
that's
really
lucky.
made it so that like the Shaggy Man didn't do
Yeah,
anything
there were no
wrong.
victims.
Like, you're a thief. But
Yeah.
okay. You stole Toto. You stole apples. Like that's the first thing
right.
we saw. of
Yeah,
you.
he did. It's all coming together.
Wow,
Oh
L.
my
Frank Baum took a
God.
writing class. But yeah, Ozma asked the Shaggy Man, she's like, "Are you sorry that you stole the love magnet?" And the Shaggy Man's like, "I'm not sorry. Like, I liked being loved, and if Dorothy hadn't loved me, I never would have been able to accompany her to Oz, and I'm so happy I'm here." Which, like, I get that, but if you're gonna lie about everything else, you can tell a little fib
Yeah,
here. And
yeah,
say,
just
"Yeah,
say,
I'm
"Oh,
sorry."
I'm
Just to make
sorry.
everyone feel better.
Yeah. Yeah, you
now
don't-
everyone's a little scared that you're here.
I ain't sorry. I'd do it again.
You're like, I'm here now, aren't I? And I ain't
I'm
leaving.
staying, I'm staying, I says.
I'm the queen of the
Yeah.
castle.
He's gonna steal that crown too.
Yeah, he's like, you're princess, but I'm queen. But although I guess on the other hand, he's not lying, and that's what he said. He said,
Yeah.
"I'm not going to lie anymore." So
Yeah,
great.
he's like, "I'd like to stay here and like be one of your most faithful subjects." And she's like, "Okay, but like people here are loved for themselves, like not for having a love magnet. So what are you gonna do with the magnet? Like you can't have that here." And he's like, "Oh, I'll give it to Dorothy."
No, everybody loves Dorothy
yeah, we're
already.
not giving it to
No.
Dorothy. What?
No,
Everyone loves Dorothy, so he's like, "All right, I'll give it to Button Bright."
don't want it.
Don't want it. Have you seen this face?
He knows
Um,
who's loved.
Shaggy Man's like, "The wizard?"
Nope, everybody loves him
Ozma's
too.
like, "Look slick. Like
Oh
we're
my-
all here because we're already
You
well
can't
loved."
pick someone here.
Yeah, no
You're
one
gonna
in this
have to
room.
go figure it out yourself.
So she figures it out for him.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Okay, we're just going to hang it over the gates of the Emerald City, and everyone who comes and who leaves will have love and be loved, and that'll represent our city now.
You know,
Like
because
your
that's how the
stolen,
magic
your
works, I
stolen
guess.
treasure."
okay, but you don't want anyone to wear it, but you want your city to wear it.
Yeah,
like that needs to be like in a museum
But isn't
or
your
returned.
city already loved? Like,
Yeah,
It's-
I don't get
I feel like it's, and that makes me think it's also not magic, and it's just a gesture. I can't tell.
Yeah.
There's a lot of maybe
I mean,
magic.
He
in this.
stole it in the real world, so like we don't have magic in black
Yeah,
and white
exactly.
sepia toned Kansas.
But maybe we don't know where Butterfield is. I guess I was gonna say that could be next door to fucking
well,
Donkey.
Dorothy knows where it is.
Oh, that's
Oh.
true. That's true.
So the Shaggy Man's like, "Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do that." So they go to dinner, and then after dinner, Ozma asks the Wizard of Oz to give their guests a magic show.
And
You're gonna like this.
Yeah, he produces 8 tiny white piglets.
the piglets.
Yes.
I forgot about them, dude.
One of which is dressed.
Yeah, because the wizard.
Yeah. And all the piglets are still there because it's been like 3 months. But one of the piglets is dressed as a clown. It's wearing a clown costume. It's doing funny tricks and jokes, and the others are racing around and doing back handsprings across the silverware.
Yeah,
Oh
this
my
piglet act has
God.
gotten way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would pay money.
So finally, it's late and it's time for bed. And Ozma's like, "Oh, well, tomorrow my very interesting and very curious guests will arrive, and the next day will be my birthday party out on the lawn."
Finally, we're not saying it's an extra 5 days from
Yeah,
now. It's like, hey,
seriously.
we're actually going to be closer tomorrow
The
to
day
my
has
fucking.
come.
So today is August 19th in the world of the book.
Yes, exactly. August 19th.
We have a
evening.
date.
Yeah. So Dorothy says, "Oh, I hope the Scarecrow's not late," and then Ozma just says he won't be. And
Yeah,
they go to
he's
bed.
getting straw to stuff himself with, which
Does
like
she
you
see
already
right
told us that.
now that he's doing that? Like, how does
Oh
she?
yeah, she just like she takes out her picture and she's like, oh yeah, he's getting stuff.
She has a
Yeah.
pocket-sized picture.
She's
Yeah.
like, actually, no, he's gonna be right on
Yeah.
time.
She calls it her Palm Pilot.
Yeah, I use my magic belt that can do anything to make myself another pocket-sized mirror that can show me anything. So, yeah. But that is the end of chapter 20, Ozma of Oz. And Blake, what would you call that?
The Ethical Thief.
Chapter 21, Dorothy receives the guests.
So the next morning, Dorothy and Button Bright receive breakfast in their room, and they invite the Shaggy Man and Polly to come break fast with them. They're having like a little gals only brunch, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they haven't really gotten one-on-one time. since
Girl
Rainbow City.
dinner,
Girl dinner. Yeah, it's that. And they hear, like, they're just finishing breakfast. Girl dinner breakfast. And they hear a bunch of horns and trombones and trumpets playing. So they go out to the balcony. And outside the palace gates, like outside the gates of the palace, but inside the city, there's this huge parade, all these musicians playing. And Dorothy sees the Scarecrow riding on the sawhorse, and everyone's just cheering for him.
Yeah, the sawhorse has been a little decked out. Like, he's always had gold plates around his hooves, but now he's like embroidered and encrusted with like glittering jewels all over him.
Oh my god, these guys are spoiled.
Yeah.
I know it.
When you're immortal and your body never changes, you have to find
Do what you
something
want.
new.
Put a
Yeah.
flower in your buttonhole. You
Yeah.
know?
I
Like,
remember when they tried putting a stick in his back.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
not like that.
they
Things
successfully
have
did
changed.
that.
Oh yeah, that's
They did,
right.
They
but they
tied
did not like
Jack
that.
to it. But yeah, so the Scarecrow sees Dorothy up in the balcony. He like waves his hat at her, and then when Dorothy and her friends go back inside from the balcony, the Scarecrow's already in her room. Which I'm like, did he fly? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty abrupt. They just like they go back in and he's just
He's never
there.
late.
Yeah. But he hugs Dorothy, shakes hands with everybody, meets everybody, and Dorothy's like, "Did you get your face repainted?"
Okay, now it's been a while, but would you say that this is an instance of Scarecrow body horror?
This is Scarecrow body horror
Yeah, go for it.
because he did get his face repainted. It had to be touched up by the same farmer that made him. I don't know why
Oh,
that's
wow.
the case.
He knows the face.
That's true, but
Ozma reached out.
yeah,
He's like, we will find.
He's like, this is your job now.
we will find him.
Yeah, the Scarecrow, he was starting to get gray and faded, and like half of his mouth had peeled off, so he couldn't talk straight.
Yeah, his
Oh.
mouth was peeling off the paint, and so he couldn't speak. Which, what?
Interesting.
The Scarecrow
I
says
guess
he,
you need painted on lips and lungs to speak. in the
Yeah,
world
because
now.
yeah,
From the void.
he has complete full set of lungs in there.
Yeah.
yeah,
But-
it's just insane.
he's like, hey, I feel better, I look better, my body's stuffed with the loveliest oat straw, and he like pushes on his chest, and he's like, hear me crunkle? And Dorothy's like, yes, we hear you crunkle.
yeah, he
That would
crunkles.
freak me out. Actually, I'm kidding. I feel sick.
He's like, beautiful, what an echo.
Yeah. Good news though, because Jalea Jam pops in and she says, "Hey, Ozma's busy preparing for the party tomorrow, but she wants Princess Dorothy to come and greet the royal guests in her place as they arrive." And Dorothy's like, "All right, let's go.
Yeah,
Let's go
Dorothy's
downstairs."
like, well, I'm the only other princess here, so
Yeah.
let's go. So yeah, she takes her friends with her, Tin Man, Scarecrow, Button Bright,
Everyone.
Polly, Wizard, Shaggy Man. They're all in there. Cowardly Lion and Tiger come in,
Oh my
all
god.
dolled
it
up with
is
new bows. They lay at her feet.
everyone.
Yeah.
It's a crowd of people. Like she is
Jeez.
surrounded on her throne, and she's in Ozma's throne. She sits in the throne. They're all just waiting, and the Scarecrow asks, "This is stupid. I hate this." The Scarecrow asks Button Bright about his name.
First, he says, "Don't know."
Oh, that's right.
And
So
Dorothy-
he can lie.
He's like, "Don't know," and Dorothy's like, "Yes, you do. Tell him about your name."
Yeah. And Papa said he's bright as a button, but so Mama called him Button Bright. But then he's like, "Oh, but like I don't know where Mama's or Papa are from," and he's like, "Oh, well, he doesn't know anything. He goes through his whole don't know thing." And the Scarecrow goes off. He's like, "Oh, well, you know how some buttons are really bright, like silver or gold ones? Or, you might have a rubber button, but you're more like a wooden button, painted in black and covered in fabric and put in a hole. Don't you
Yeah.
think that's the sort of button that your papa meant you were when he said you were bright as a button?"
Don't know.
Don't know.
So
Oh
that
my
happens.
So that-
yeah. Yeah.
Yikes.
So Jack Pumpkinhead comes in the throne room.
Yep.
He's got a birthday gift for Ozma. It's a necklace of pumpkin seeds with rare carolite set into each seed. I googled carolite; it's real.
I Google Carolite and it doesn't exist.
It's got 2 L's. Anyway, so the next guest to come in is a beautiful, tall woman in a long, lacy gown. And she's this really important sorceress in Oz. And her name is Glinda the Good.
She has lace as fine as cobwebs, just trailing behind her. She's powerful. She kisses Dorothy. She greets her. She's smiling at everybody like, oh, hi.
She puts her gift on the gift table because that's what the rich do too.
Yeah. And
They're
then,
just like us.
and then Jalea Jam leads her away to a magnificent room where she has 50 servants given to her to order around. So she is given high favor.
You know, she's high maintenance, man. 50
Yeah.
servants
Yeah, it's
for a
just
2
one
night stay.
day. Like,
Just a few hours, actually.
yeah.
But Glinda, goes away. Next, Mr. H.M. Wogglebug T.E. comes into the throne room. And for his gift for Ozma, he's composed an ode in honor of the princess. And he's like, oh, I'll read it to you guys. And the Scarecrow's like, no, that's okay. Go to your room.
Oh.
Yeah, he would not allow it.
Oh my god.
They
He went away.
fight. They fight. Scarecrow likes to be the smartest one in the room.
Oh, but then he does, which I think is also why he gave Button Bright a put down. Because he was like, oh, you're bright. Actually, you're a fucking idiot.
Actually.
And so
Good
is
point.
H.M.
Good
Wogglebug,
point.
and I'm smart.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But then
Jealousy.
yes. Then they hear a clucking sound and many cheap sounds.
Dorothy's.
Dorothy cries, the human Dorothy cries out, and she runs out and she pets Bellina and all of her little chicks. She's inspecting each little one, and Bellina is wearing her signature pearl necklace.
Of course she is.
And all of the chicks have a golden chain around each of their necks
Oh.
Gangsters.
Oh.
with a
my
locket
God.
engraved with a D.
Yeah, Bellina's like, oh, Dorothy, you're going to love this.
Yeah.
Open the lockets.
Open the lockets. Each one has a picture of Dorothy inside.
Just a little glossy of Dorothy.
He's
Yeah.
obsessed with her.
Bellina's like, well, the chicks were named after you, so I wanted them to all wear your picture.
Yep.
You know.
She's
How you do with kids.
obsessed.
My dad and I have the same name, and that's why I have that tattoo on my back. But the chicks are all scattered around all over the room, and Bellina's like, oh, watch this. Come here, Dorothy, this minute. All the chicks come back.
Yeah, all of them. They're tumbling. Their little wings are flapping. It's super cute.
I
But
want
it's a
a
good.
Dorothy.
I know. Until they turn into a normal sized chicken, and
That's true.
Yeah.
One time I bought 2 chicks at Wilco because I didn't realize the care they would need.
How old were you?
I was like 16.
Oh my god.
I
no.
gave them to my friend's family who had property and an incubator and stuff. But
That's insane.
I loved them for a day.
Damn. Well, at least they went to a good home.
Yeah, I regret that. I regret that so much. But now I want to go back to Wilco and get more.
Nope.
They had dogs too.
So all the babies are called back to Bellina, and then TikTok enters, and he's just. So it's a good thing the Tick. Yes, yeah.
I'm sorry, sir, but I think we must be on our way. That was my C-3PO. I haven't seen
was
those
pretty good.
movies really.
Oh,
Okay, cool.
So the Tin Woodman says that he's looking super polished. He looks great. Come on over here, stand by the Shaggy Man of the company, which is nice because the Tin Woodman has also been kind of shitty in the past to TikTok. And we also even heard earlier how TikTok can't be loved.
That's
So,
true. He doesn't
it's
like his
nice.
skin.
Yeah, the skin he's
Basically
in.
racism.
He's
It
basically
is.
it's like, I'm sorry, you're tin and he's copper. Like, you guys are both cheap as fuck. But everyone's all set up and ready to receive the distinguished guests, and they hear the band start playing again, and the High Chamberlain of the palace throws open the doors, and my, how they did stare at the visitors who entered the room.
We're about to this and the next chapter is just a laundry list of insanity.
None of it makes any sense, and I don't know why it's happening.
No.
Oh no.
So
Go ahead.
first to enter is a gingerbread man. I don't know if he's a giant gingerbread man or if he's cookie sized.
He's giant.
Okay,
He's giant.
that's what I figured. His clothes are frosting, his buttons are gumdrops. He walks
His
with
hat
a yellow and red cane.
Yeah, but his hat is made of silk.
But his hat is silk top hat.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
But
What?
after him comes a child with flaxen hair and blue eyes, who's dressed in white pajamas and wearing like flip flops.
Yeah, bare feet with sandals, looking around, smiling, walking with hands in pajamas.
This non-gendered, non-named child.
Yes, child. They use the pronoun it.
Yeah, they keep saying
Yeah,
it.
there's no gender. So it's strange, and we'll get there. Close after that comes a giant rubber bear
Walking on 2 feet.
walking on hind legs.
It's huge.
It's huge. It looks like it's inflated. It
Like-
looks like a balloon, basically.
This feels like a Cartoon Network show from like 2013 or
Yeah.
something.
And then come 2 tall, thin men and 2 short, fat men, all wearing beautiful uniforms.
Yeah. So the Chamberlain rushes to the front of the room and he's like, His gracious and most edible majesty, King Do the First, ruler of the 2 kingdoms of Highland and Lowland. That's the gingerbread man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the head bullywag of His Majesty.
Known as Chick the Cherub.
Bullywag.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't ask.
Don't know that. But that's
know.
that's
Don't
the kid in
know.
pajamas, though.
Okay.
Is Chick the Cherub, the head bullywag, and then their faithful friend Para Bruin, the rubber bear. Which Bruin is
Para
just a type
Bruin.
of bear.
Laura
basically.
Bruin is crazy.
Yeah.
And like, does that just mean like father bear?
How did they expect me to remember
Maybe.
these names?
Well,
you don't need to.
you don't need to, and you're going to hear them a lot.
I
though.
do kind of want a Para
God.
Bruin tattoo though.
He sounds cool.
Yeah, that actually seems pretty cool.
He doesn't do much, as we'll learn. There, he kind of has one thing going for him.
Yeah. So Dorothy introduces the 4 dignitaries to her friends. Chick the Cherub shakes everybody's hands,
Oh.
being very kind.
He is hitting it.
Yeah,
off with
everyone
them.
loves him. And Dorothy whispers, "Is it a boy or a girl?" And Button Bright says, "Don't know." And Toto says, "Bow wow." He doesn't. He doesn't
He should
actually.
have.
He
He
should
should
have.
have.
Still saying that
Yeah.
shit.
But
Um,
yeah, so we don't know still.
But
maybe
Para
there's no
Bruin, the giant rubber bear, tells the group that they're a queer lot of people. And Button Bright's like, it takes one to know one, dude. You're a giant rubber bear.
He's like, do you know what I'm looking at right now?
Do you see yourself? He also asks if King Do is any good to eat. And Chick says, "Too good to eat." And they all laugh.
Yeah.
But King Do is like, "You're not going to fucking eat me, are you?"
I would be a little confused.
The Scarecrow's like, is it the Scarecrow or the Tin Woodman?
Scarecrow.
Yeah, Scarecrow's like, don't worry, like we don't need our guests here. You're good.
Yeah. Then something kind of weird happens.
Belina's like, why did she asked Chick the Cherub? She's like, why do they call you Chick? And he tells her it's because he's an incubator baby and never had any parents.
So I don't know how to unpack that.
He's just made in a test tube for whatever
But
reason,
he
and
just
he's
does
from the
an
gingerbread man.
Experiment?
But I'm like, it was 1908 or whatever.
And we're
like-
saying he, and it's not he.
Sorry, yeah.
It's
It.
an it.
Yeah, it. And that's the pronoun they use. The Offering Problem
It's-
uses.
it's-
it.
Yeah, Belina's like, okay, well, I've got 10 chicks, and they've got enough parent right here, motherfuckers. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm
know
a
why they
single
go
mom
off
who
calling
works
you
2
a chick.
jobs. Yeah.
Like, I know a chick when I
Single mom who works 2 jobs.
Yes. But Chick is like, "Oh, I'm glad they have a parent. Like, they'll have you worrying a lot. I'll tell you what, the incubator never worried about me." So then King Do, who, as we find out, I guess just in this sentence, is his first name is John. So his name is John Doe.
His name is John Doe.
But Dough, obviously, being that he's a cookie. So he brought this huge gingerbread crown with pearls on it. So just a big cookie that's gonna rot with pearls on it.
Awesome was like, thanks.
Yeah. So they put that with the gifts. And then the Chamberlain guided them to their rooms, but then the music played again, announcing new guests that needed to be greeted. And that is the end of chapter 21. Dorothy receives the guests. And Blake, what would you call that?
Slight adjustment. Dorothy gingerly receives the guests.
Ooh.
That was a weird chapter.
Just wait. Chapter 22, Important Arrivals.
Oh, so we separate them out.
Well, this crazy train is just getting started.
Okay.
Everything you've seen before, rubber bears, genderless children, it's nothing.
Yeah. Here we
'Cause-
go.
First to arrive in this chapter are the Riles from Happy Valley. They are merry little fairy sprites.
Yeah. And followed by them are a dozen crooked nooks from the forest of Burzee.
The Great Forest of Burzee. They have long whiskers and pointed caps and curled toes. And they're all smaller than Button
Yeah,
Bright.
they're not any taller
Oh.
than Button Bright's shoulder.
Oh.
So behind the nooks came a man so easy to recognize, so important and dearly beloved throughout the known world that everyone, upon seeing him, rose to their feet and bowed deeply before his name could even be announced by the High Chamberlain.
And
The High Chamberlain said, "Jesus Christ of Nazareth." I'm just kidding.
but
I'm just trying to put Christ back in
a
Christmas.
crossover.
but you know what he did say? He says, "The most mighty and loyal friend of children, His Supreme Highness, Santa Claus."
Oh.
Santa
It's-
approaches the throne that Princess Dorothy is
So
sitting
Santa
in.
is real.
Santa is ho
Just wait.
and helloing
He
and
is a
bowing
meeting and
to
greeting.
Princess Dorothy.
Yeah.
What a day.
Round as an apple, rosy face, snow white beard.
Wow.
He's wearing his big red cloak with its
Where's
lace
Mrs.
with ermine.
Claus?
Well, I don't know that actually.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming to Ozma's birthday. He's going to get fucked up. She doesn't like it when he drinks.
I see. I see.
But yeah, Santa has a basket full of presents for Princess Ozma's birthday. And Santa takes Dorothy's hand and he's like, "Hello, Dorothy, still having adventures?" And she's like, "How do you know my name, Santa?"
Even though there's no reason that she should possibly be confused about this.
Yeah, he's like,
given
"I'm Santa
She
Claus."
probably stood up and bowed to him. But he's like, "Yeah, I see you every Christmas Eve while you're asleep."
See you when you're sleeping, know when you're awake.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
So he turns.
You know it.
Yeah, he turns to Button Bright though, and he's like, "Button Bright," and he
picks him
him
up.
up, gives him a little kiss, and he says, "Oh, you're awfully far from home, aren't you,
Dorothy's like, "Oh my God, you know Button Bright?"
Dorothy? He's Santa Claus.
Of course
He
he
knows
does.
all of you."
Santa's like, "I go to Button Bright's house every single Christmas Eve. I don't know what you're not getting here." And Dorothy's like, "Oh my God, like, where does Button Bright live? We are going crazy trying to figure out where this kid lives. He just always says, 'Don't know.'" Santa laughs and he thinks for a moment.
That's
and
confidential.
then he leans over and whispers something in the wizard's ear, and the wizard nods knowingly.
Oh.
And then Santa just goes to greet Polly.
This never
Yeah,
comes back
it
up.
will never come back up.
I don't
Oh
know
my God.
what the fuck
I
just
don't
happened.
it's
understand.
giving like adults like not listening to children.
Yeah.
type
Right,
of
yeah.
vibe.
Santa, just Dorothy, just it doesn't have
It's
a
like
voice.
I just want to know where Button Bright lives.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
like
it's
this is a
like,
really
Why are you
practical
whispering
issue.
about it?
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, kids."
But
Oh,
honestly,
kids,
I was
they're
really
ridiculous.
hoping that when Santa saw Button Bright, he was going to be like, "Well, if it isn't little Henry Smith from Irvine, California,"
Oh
you know,
my
like
God.
because his name's not Button Bright.
It can't be.
Yeah.
But Santa sees Polly and he's like, "Oh, Rainbow's daughter is far from home." So it's like, okay, so the Rainbows celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
Like-
so
Well, he says that he'll tell his dad he will tell Polly's dad where she is so he can come and get her.
I guess
So
he's
it
just
feels
another
like-
magical
Yeah, they're like,
diplomat.
I feel like they're friends in the way that he's invited to Ozma's party. But it's still crazy. But Polly's like, "Please God, yes, Santa, please tell my dad where I am. Like,
Yeah, it's
I
cold
have
down
nowhere
here."
else to go." Yes. Yeah.
So Santa introduces them to the Riles, whose job is to paint the flowers when they bloom in the spring, and the Nooks, who are they like water and care for the trees of the forests.
And they're all crooked because they have to get bent over to water the baby trees, and they look like old trees, but they're very nice and kind-hearted, even though they're really ugly.
Dorothy's like, "Oh, I've read of the Riles and Nooks," which no, you haven't.
Why does she? Well, but she knew about the cloud
I
fairies.
know, she's
she
making
knows
it
about
up.
all sorts of
I
things
think
that
she's
no one
making
else
it
should
up.
ever
so
know about.
she's a liar too.
I looked it up. I used the internet. I couldn't find anything about those
This
words.
And
whole
Dorothy didn't
group
have
are liars.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
my
they're
God.
all
Yeah.
manipulative. Like that's so transparent to me, Dorothy.
A
No,
bunch of gaslighters out
so
here.
transparent.
But Santa finishes greeting everyone. He's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna go ride the sawhorse around and check out the Emerald City, see the sights. I'm on vacay."
That's what Santa Claus said. He knows Sawhorse too.
Ozma
He's
told
gonna use
him.
the sawhorse.
Yeah, Ozma
Okay,
told him
okay.
that he could ride
You can
sawhorse
utilize,
because he's
yeah.
getting fat and short of breath.
Yeah, and the reindeer don't like the heat.
Understandable.
So yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go out there and do it.
Yeah, because it's August 21st, so it's too warm for reindeer to come in.
And Sawhorse is all blinged out, ready to
Yeah.
let Santa ride him.
And he's strong.
So Santa goes on his way to explore and be a tourist, and the next guest comes in. Her Gracious Majesty, the Queen of Maryland.
But it's not Maryland, the state in the U.S. It's Merry land. It's
Maryland.
Maryland.
Oh.
And what do you think she would look like?
Mrs. Claus.
No. She is a wax doll, no bigger than Button Bright, with staring glass eyes and a painted smile on her face. She is in a fancy gown.
She's a Barbie.
Yeah, but yeah, it's weird because I'm like, I didn't look up what a wax doll is, although we can all imagine like a wax
Doll.
figure. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
doll. And I'm like, does she like squeak when she walks? Like, how big is
I was
it's
Is
just
it giving
strange.
like Chucky vibes or
It-
like?
I was
kind
honestly,
of, it gives
like,
me scary
Picturing
vibes.
her, since she's molded from wax, I didn't really get that either. So I was picturing her moving in like stop motion, just like
Yeah. That's what I'm picturing right now.
And they point out how her eyes are like glass and kind of lifeless. So
Oh.
like she seems kind of scary. And she's guarded by these 4 wooden soldiers who are painted really beautifully, and they have like wooden guns that probably
Are they
don't do
like
anything.
toy soldiers, like
Yeah,
the Nutcrackers?
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
what I'm imagining. Because they're
Exactly.
like they can't be like a lot bigger than her.
and then
Okay.
So they're all
and
little.
it actually is giving very Nutcracker. Actually, the rest of the group, I wonder if L. Frank Baum like saw
Oh, God.
Balancini's Nutcracker. or
It's not
something.
even Christmas time. This is giving me very Christmas.
It's just the
I know
Santa
Santa
cameo.
and the toys.
Maryland, like
but then behind her comes the Candyman of Maryland, and he's
Oh.
a little fat man made entirely of candy, and he like dusts himself with powdered sugar with a powdered sugar sifter so that he doesn't stick to stuff.
is
Isn't that
this where
disgusting?
Candyland came from? The board
Maybe,
game?
yeah.
Maybe.
Lord Licorice and
Yeah.
the tar pits, the molasses tar pits.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why I remember that.
I know. I
I've
don't
only played
remember
that
any
game
of
like
those.
once.
But-
One time I played that game with my cousin, and I totally cheated, and he cried, and he was trying to tell on me, and they were like, "What's going on?" And my aunt was like, "Oh, he's just mad because Blake's winning the game," and I was like, and I've never told that story before.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a
I'm
Patreon
gonna bring
exclusive.
that up. I'm gonna bring that up. At
I wonder if he
Thanksgiving.
remembers that. I don't know. That was a long time ago.
Well, heard here first.
Yes, and this
Love our listeners.
this little man made of candy. The thing that really does gross me out though is like him dusting himself with the powdered sugar so he doesn't stick to anything. I'm like, ugh. Everywhere he walks, everything he steps
Just
on,
sticky.
like he opened the
Yeah.
door and it's just like leaves a little like on it, you know.
He keeps himself from being sticky by putting one of the stickiest things I know on his skin.
I know. It must make him like kind of like tacky but not sticky,
But
you
not
know.
as sticky as he would
Like,
be
no one's
because
gonna,
he's
like,
constantly melting.
Shake his hand, pull it away,
Oh.
and there's like a string of honey in between.
Oh, he's so
Yeah, I'm
disgusting.
like,
I
don't
hate him.
touch me.
Yeah.
Actually.
But the Queen of Maryland, she has like no time. She drops her gift on the table and she's led to her rooms. But the Candyman, he's like, I'm actually going to stay and chat with the Scarecrow and TikTok and the Wizard and the Tin Woodman because they're distinguished gentlemen. I want to talk to them.
He's vibing.
And also, you guys are fucking crazy.
Yeah,
looking.
he's like, you guys are.
He's like, you guys.
You guys are weird.
yeah, exactly.
His mouth is like sticking to
it's
itself.
like melting.
Button Bright is really glad the Candyman stays because he smells so good.
And then the horns and the music plays again, and now it's a familiar face this time. The braided man.
The braided man of Pyramid Mountain.
Yep, coming from halfway
yeah.
between the Invisible Valley and the land of the
I
gargoyles.
wonder if he has any new ribbons.
Well, he's actually brought Ozma a box of flutters for her birthday, so he's up to making the same old thing.
My
Okay.
question,
But she has a lot of flags.
that's true. I had questions when we met him in the last book about how does he get his materials? How does he stay alive? He's stuck in the middle of the mountain. But now I'm like, so he can just leave the mountain at will? Anytime he wants,
Yeah.
he can come to fucking Oz.
Because he didn't know if they were halfway up at all because he's never left.
Yeah.
So maybe like after the wizard saw him, he was like, "Ooh,
Well-
that guy's not. We got to check on that."
Oh,
guy."
maybe, yeah, he might have sent him some mail or something.
Yeah.
Also, though, the gargoyles, I assume, all got killed when they lit everything wood in there on fire.
Yeah.
Maybe he can just leave now. You
Oh,
know?
yeah, he's not
Oh,
trapped
he's not
anymore.
trapped.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
God.
at least open up a pathway.
Having to test it would be so scary.
Yeah.
But the band plays again after the braided man goes away, or he's chatting, I don't know. But the band plays again, and the Queen of Ev comes into the throne room, and with her is Evaldo and his 9 siblings. You know, the 15-year-old with the 15 buckles.
That's right.
But
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
Langwedier.
Oh, yeah, where's Cousin Lang?
I don't know.
Where's Cousin
I
Langley?
wish she was here. I know she was
Yeah,
kind
I'd
of.
love to know what head she had.
She was like
on.
petty. I know, right? God willing, not number 22 or whatever the fuck it was. But no, they arrive and they chat with everybody for like over an hour because
Yeah.
they're friends. They're just like chilling out there, like they're all
And
catching
they
up.
all know each other. Like, they only don't know
Yeah.
Shaggy, Polly, and Button Bright. So, like,
Oh,
everyone
yeah.
is a
Yeah, you're right.
friend who they haven't seen since they, like, saved their lives.
Yeah. And so they are still chatting when the music plays. So they're kind of like, hey, like, we're just going to get going. Like, we'll let your next guest come in.
Yeah.
And they brought for Ozma's gift a diadem set with diamonds set in radium.
Like, what?
What you call me?
Diadem.
That's in radium. The next guest is King Renard of Foxville, or King Dox, if it do ya.
Okay.
He's wearing a beautiful feather
Oh, I bet
costume,
he's excited.
white little gloves,
Mhm.
and he thanks Dorothy for inviting him. And he's like, I've always wanted to come to Oz. And then he learns that she's a princess, and he's like, oh, and he bows down, and he bows, dances, vogues his
I'd be
way
like,
out
"You
of the
keep
room.
Your little hands to yourself, mister.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't want any more fox
No one's
heads
getting a
Yeah,
fox
no
head.
fox heads around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The band plays again. The High Chamberlain announces the next guest, Her Sublime and Resplendent Majesty, Queen Zixie of Ix, and His Serene and Tremendous Majesty, King Bud
Vixie
of
of
No
Ix.
Land, and Her Royal Highness, the Princess Fluff.
So that's Queen Zixie of Ix, Bud of Noland, and Princess Fluff.
Of No Land, right, though? Like, is that
No
the joke?
land. It's spelled Noland.
It's
so
spelled
it's
like a
no
name.
land. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So at this point, apparently, these are some big names. So Dorothy and the crew all kind of like sit up straight. They're taking on a formal posture. And then Queen Zixi enters. That's Zixi. And they're all astounded by her beauty.
Yeah, Dorothy's like, the new girl in town can't be more than 16.
Yeah, she thinks
But-
she's 16.
The wizard is like, oh, no, she's thousands of years old.
But
Like-
she knows the secret of always remaining fresh and young. And she's beautiful. Everyone thinks
She
she's
drinks
beautiful.
from the truth pond.
Yes. And then Bud and Fluff are from the kingdom next door to Zixi, and they're just all good friends.
They're friends.
So they travel
They're all the
together.
same age.
Yeah.
They're
It's red,
best.
white, and
Um,
royal blue.
Yeah. But they're just normal humans that look normal, from my understanding
Yeah,
at
they
least.
drop their gifts
No
on
rubber
the
bears.
table.
No
No,
rubber
rubber bears
bears.
with them. They drop their gifts on the table, and at this point, the table's getting loaded. And they visit for a minute. They all like each other a lot. Then the royals are also led to their rooms. And Dorothy's like, man, this is going to be a huge party. She's like, hey, Button Bright, don't you think this place is going to be chock full of people? Don't know. I don't know why they keep asking. Don't, if it has a question mark on it, don't say it to Button Bright.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. But by this time, it's like a little bit after noon. So it's getting kind of late in the day because they're all going to have a banquet. So Dorothy's like, okay, let's all go get dressed. And of course, the Candy Man who stayed there to chat.
Say it 3 times.
Oh, God, I'm not going to say it 3 times. But he needs to just dust himself with sugar, so he doesn't really need to change. The Tin Woodman, TikTok, Scarecrow, Belina, they don't need to change.
Why do we have to do this every book? Like, why do we have
I
to talk
know.
about everyone's needs?
I
Like,
know
'cause
they always.
do you eat? I can't remember from last
Yeah.
time.
What I
Okay.
wish is that I could have said Dorothy goes to get changed, and that's the end of the chapter. But then there is this dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh, but importantly, they are still expecting King Kikabray, the Good Witch of the North, and Johnny Dewitt.
Yeah, Johnny Dewitt was invited because he helped so much, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he'll probably be late.
But yeah, Dorothy's like, Johnny Dewitt will probably be late. He's super busy. Right, Shaggy Man? Like that one time when I said I wanted to say thank you to him and you like ripped me a new one because he's so busy. Sorry, I just felt like he was really mean in that moment.
That was a little intense.
But everyone agrees to stay and meet the next arrival so that Dorothy and Button Bright can go get themselves dressed.
And that is the end of chapter 22, Important Arrivals. And Blake, what would you call that?
Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town. Santa Claus is coming to town.
Chapter 23, The Grand Banquet.
So everyone convenes at the grand banquet. And there's a long table in the center of the dining hall, and the whole scene is giving eleganza.
Yeah, it's all jewels, it's all gems, all the plates are made of crystal, gold, and glass.
It's the Met Gala.
It's beautiful.
We'll get an idea of what
And-
people are wearing later.
Yeah.
Rich.
Santa is apparently the guest of honor, other than Ozma.
I mean, which of these people, other than Ozma, have you heard of before? Because
The
you don't.
Queen of Ev. I know the Braided
Okay.
Man.
All right.
Um,
Okay.
oh,
All
sorry.
right.
Okay.
Santa's still a big fucking deal.
I know
Okay.
Santa better than anyone.
Santa is at one end of the banquet table, though, because he's the guest of honor. And then Ozma is going to be seated all the way at the other one. All the kings and queens have golden thrones they're going to sit on, or that they're already sitting on. Everyone else just has beautiful chairs. So everyone's seated. But you might think, oh, everyone, right? Everyone at one table, everyone who can talk.
I don't like this.
Well, there's actually a dirty little animal table. There is a table where all the animals are forced to sit.
So Toto's at one end.
Toto's
of
the
the table.
head of the
That's
table.
who I was
Toto is at
wondering
the
about.
head of the animal table, and most of those animals know English.
And he's wearing a bib, eating off a silver platter. And you know, he's just the whole time. Also at this table is Bellina, Dorothy, 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 the Hungry Tiger, the Lion, the Sawhorse, the Rubber Bear, and King Dox.
Yeah, they made quite a
Oh.
company of animals. Now, here's the question.
Yeah.
Where's the Wogglebug
donkey?
sitting? Where's the Woggle? He's at that. He's at the animal table.
Oh, yeah.
Donkey's
Oh,
at the
okay,
animal
okay.
table. Where's the Wogglebug sitting?
Yeah, because he's a bug.
Also,
That's a good
Toto doesn't
point.
know any English, but like the fox walks on two
I
legs
bet
and
the
does
scarecrow
theater.
will be pissed if the Wogglebug is sitting at the same table as him.
You're right. Maybe Wogglebug doesn't eat with them because he's a bug, so he has salmonella in his hands.
It's like cross contamination.
Yeah.
I got salmonella from a cockroach once.
I feel like I remember that.
Yeah.
That's
you
because
probably
Blake
do.
owned the cockroach, and then it crawled into his shoe, and then he had to shake his
That's
shoe out at
right.
Swan Mart, and he saw a crow swoop down and eat the cockroach.
Stop! We're talking about the time I killed chicks, the time I killed a cockroach that didn't ask to be shipped here from Africa.
Yeah.
Quite a
This is
journey with
not good.
animals.
This is not good. Then there's another table for the help, basically. There's the Rills, the Nooks, the Wooden Soldiers, the Highlanders, the Lowlanders, all the officers of Ozma's Royal Army. They're all at this other table. And everyone is dressed like it's the Met Gala. Like they're so glittering that no one's ever going to forget it. They're all going to
Yeah.
remember it for the rest of their
Everyone's
lives. They're like,
costume,
we look good.
5-foot radius. Do not get close because there are filaments, there are ribbons, there are draperies. It's insane.
Yeah.
And when they're all seated, a 500-person band begins to play from the balcony.
I think that's way too big of an orchestra, in my opinion.
500?
That is huge. That's so
Is that,
noisy.
like, more than the people at the party?
That's more than
How
the
do
people
you-
at the party.
How do you have a conversation when there's a 500-piece
Yeah.
orchestra in the same room as
Well,
you?
the
And
thing
how many
is-
is it repeating instruments or
No,
is
it's
it,
all different instruments.
It's 500 different instruments.
how
No,
are
it
you
does-
gonna
it
make
doesn't
that
spe-
sound good?
It doesn't specify that. There's probably like 80 violins and like
It's insane.
How are you
though.
gonna make that sound good? That's all I want to know.
it's amazing. Like who conducted
It
that?
can't. Oh
Because
yeah, who's the conductor?
There's got to be 50 conductors.
H.M. Wogglebug. I bet you anything. I
Oh,
bet
that's
you
why
anything.
he's
not
not
at the table.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not sitting at the table.
But then a green door opens and Ozma enters, revealing herself to the guests for the first
Oh,
time.
she better look good.
She stands by her seat at the table. She looks stunning. Everyone is just staring at her because she's just so fucking nice to look at. Who plays Ozma? Blake Lively? Who's that pretty?
Well, they also have to be pretty and between
Oh, they have to be little.
10 and 13.
It's very important here to note that each guest had been served with a crystal goblet filled with La Casa, which is a sort of nectar famous in Oz, and it's nicer to drink than soda water or lemonade.
Yep.
Just kidding. Not important at all. I don't know why that's in the book.
Yeah, but he just wanted to give him a drink, you know.
We all
So
need a
it's-
bevy.
So it's La Casa.
It's La Casa, you know, the
The
famous
house.
nectar drink.
The
Yeah, the
house.
house.
He literally gave them the drink of the house.
Yeah.
Um,
So Santa gives a speech in verse, so you know it's all rhyming and
Yeah, he's like,
iambic
"'Twas the night before
pentameter."
Christmas, and all through the house.
Yeah, it was Ozma's birthday. Now party down the house.
Now down the hatch, you little louse.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he toasts for everyone to drink to the health and happiness of Ozma, and those who aren't able to drink just pretend to.
Can you imagine the Tin Woodman and the Scarecrow sitting next to each other, just touching the goblet to their mouth and being like,
That's some Coraline
that's
ass
good.
shit.
Yeah, it's just
Ew.
pouring down the sides of their mouth, like onto their not
Ew.
shirts. It's
It's like
gross.
getting his suit or his clothes all soggy.
Yeah.
It's like in the Tigger movie when they're all wearing the Tigger costumes. You guys seen that?
I had to leave in the middle of that because I had strep throat.
Uh,
I was in the theater.
the servants begin to dish up the feast now, and these gorgeous dishes are loaded up with delicious food. And people who don't eat, like Scarecrow and TikTok and the wax doll queen of Maryland.
Okay.
who she just, what does she eat? What does she want to have?
The
Oh, none for me, thanks. I'm fine with my.
the wax doll queen of Maryland for her dinner has a pile of sawdust.
She's just like,
Is this cedar? No, this is pine. That's good.
and it doesn't make any
Ew.
sense. Like, she's a doll. She comes
She's
with
made of wax. I
like
don't
little
get it.
soldiers and a candy
You don't
man.
have
Like
to.
her eating
Why does
sawdust.
everyone who doesn't usually eat all of a sudden feel like they have to eat?
I
Yeah.
don't know. Just
I mean,
like
I don't know. She
stand in the corner and watch a spider spin its web like you've always done.
Don't just eat dust.
The people who don't eat, they were just happy to be there and watch.
Yeah.
Um,
Wish they could eat.
the Wogglebug finally gets to read his ode to Ozma that the Scarecrow wouldn't let him read earlier.
And everyone thought it was fine.
It's pretty good. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. The wizard does a magic trick where
they
he
don't
makes.
they don't give us it.
Nope.
No. We had Oz Hour the musical last time, but this time we
This
can't
time we're
do a
rushing
little
through.
poem. Yeah. L. Frank Baum was like, I told y'all I wasn't going to write another one of these.
That's true.
The wizard does a magic trick where he makes a giant pie appear before Dorothy, and when Dorothy cuts into the pie,
She cuts into one of the 9 piglets. No, she doesn't do that. But she opens it. The 9 piglets come out. They're fine, and they begin dancing. And I'm like, good thing she cut in the right spot.
Seriously.
these piglets,
She cut right. She could have cut through 3 of them.
they know what to do.
Yeah.
But these
Oh my
piglets
God.
pop
Uh.
out of the pie, and they're like, all I do the whole night through is
Think
dream
of
about
you.
you.
Dun, dun, dun.
L. Frank Baum invented the lady popping out of the birthday cake.
He did. I was honestly when I was reading that, I was like, should I do this for Blake's birthday and pop out of a birthday cake?
Oh my god, I'd cry.
That would be pretty
Yeah.
cool.
So I might do that.
But you have to be holding my favorite gift I could ever have. Toad.
Oh no, I thought you meant like an 8-piece wing, dry
Oh,
rub.
No, that's actually fine.
Did you say
Cajun.
Toto?
A toad.
Oh, a toad. Okay,
But
that makes
actually,
more sense.
I'd take wings. Pop out of a cake with wings. I'm sucking your fingers. So then, so Polychrome performs her famous rainbow dance for everybody.
you know
The one she's been
that
talking
we've heard about.
What the fuck is the rainbow
Oh,
dance?
I know the rainbow dance.
Okay, we know. Okay, so we good. We must have forgotten. Everyone loves polychrome dancing, and
Oh, it's good. The donkey brays approval.
yeah, and this. I mean, if we have not already opened the floor for everyone to do their talent, this is it.
Yeah, they're
Because now get in line
it's
because we're about to
basically
see.
the rest of the book.
This is
going to
be a 6-act show.
Okay, so Johnny Dewitt does an eating like he does like a food challenge for everybody. Like,
Oh my
He just shows he's
gosh.
really good at eating fast. Apparently,
you just eat like he's like, oh yeah, are you done with that? Like that's
he
his
does
talent.
tricks. He might. I think he also showed off his like chest of like tools or something. But
Maybe.
it's interesting.
Um,
The Tin Woodman sings a love song,
to the Scarecrow.
but everyone knows the chorus to the Tin Woodman song, and so they all sing along. And then the Riles and Nooks dance the fairy circle.
Of course.
So take that for
and
whatever
it
that
wouldn't be a
means.
party if the Riles and Nooks didn't dance a fairy circle.
I know, yeah. It actually sounds beautiful, but I don't know what it is.
I do kind of want to be a part of
The
it.
rubber bear, he's a little bit of a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
He just kind of, he's rubber. So he just kind of bounces himself around the room.
And everyone cracks up
I love it.
laughing.
Like from corner to corner type of
He's just,
shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also kind of imagine him rolling into a weird ball shape and then like broing, broing.
Someone coming and dribbling him like a
Yeah,
basketball.
maybe like a couple
Hey, you.
free throws. Basketball is my favorite sport.
I like the way you dribble up and down the court.
Yeah, so they're dribbling him.
So Button Bright's so excited by everything going on, he sort of like ignores his dinner, which L. Frank Baum tells us is wise of him because he can eat at any time. He can only see a rubber bear bounce itself around the room once.
Yeah, these are
okay.
things that are
Truth.
insane. So this all goes on for a very, very long
Late
time.
into the night.
And then they all go to bed. And that's the end of chapter 23, the banquet, the grand banquet. And Blake, what would you, the grand, call that?
I would the grand call that. Was that a chapter or a seating chart or like a set list for a talent show? I'm confused.
Chapter 24, the birthday celebration.
So Ozma wakes up in the morning. The sun is shining. It's a gorgeous day. Everyone is up and bustling. The day's festivities are about to be underway. And all of the Ozites, L. Frank Baum says, not Ozians, which caught me off guard, are gathered outside of the gates to see the procession of the famous foreign dignitaries attending Ozma's party.
Yeah, they're just lining the streets. They're ready to see it. Everyone's bustling about. And it's shortly, even though we're really just skipping ahead from Ozma waking up, to it being time for the procession.
And what a great procession it was.
And if you thought that these last couple chapters seemed like a series of lists of things, you're going to love this.
This entire chapter's
God,
lists.
why does he do this?
So
You have to know.
first in the procession came 1,000 young girls,
Beautiful.
the prettiest girls in the land. 1,000.
They're all wearing white, and they had,
Is there space?
well, they're all
It's
in,
like the courtyard.
well, but they're going down the main street of Oz. So, like, they're probably
Oh.
like, there's probably like
They-
10 girls and then 100 rows of them.
It took an hour just to get through the first part of this parade. Because
Yeah.
there's 1,000 girls to walk by.
Jeez.
But they have
And they're
big
walking-
baskets full of beautiful flowers, and they're scattering them on the ground in front of the rest of the parade. 1,000 girls with baskets full of flowers. They literally carpet
Yeah.
the road.
It's
Yeah,
so
you
thick.
can't see the bottom.
It's like you're on
anymore.
moon shoes. Yeah, everyone's walking on them just like,
Yeah, everyone just steps right on
yeah,
them.
the ground is thick
Um,
with roses.
so
Oh
the
my
four
God, I feel
rulers-
sad for the cleanup crew.
Right.
I know.
But it's okay because everyone just does it out of the kindness of their heart. They don't
Yep,
get paid.
and no one
That's
gets paid.
true. That's true.
But then the four rulers of the four kingdoms of Oz come out.
Wait,
and I
who?
don't really
I'm
know.
sorry.
I don't really know who's who here. So there's the Emperor of the Winkies. That's obviously the Tin Woodman.
Yeah,
The monarch of the Munchkins. They had a mayor called Bach once upon a time.
they
but-
had a king at the end
Oh,
of the last
yeah.
book who
What
last
the
book.
fuck? They
No,
had a
the 2
mayor
books
and then
ago.
a king and a monarch. They're doing things backward. The king of the Quadlings. Don't know who that is. I
Nope.
thought the good witch, or I thought Glinda ruled the Quadlings. Or
Yeah.
the Gillikins. The good witch of the North rules the Quadlings, I think. And then the sovereign of the Gillikins.
What?
Like who
Who
are
are
these
these
people?
Who are they? But
Yeah.
they all have big emerald necklaces to show that they're like under Ozma. So, great.
Yeah.
Like that's what we would have expected, I guess, with 3 new characters who have never existed before. So anyway, so it makes sense though. They come out, everyone's cheering for them. Then the royal band comes and they're playing the Ozma 2-step.
Everybody, Ozma 2-step.
Everybody, Ozma 2-step. So that's them. Then there's the Royal Army, which is all 27 officers. Like we know, there's no privates, there's no soldiers.
Because the only private we ever had was recruited.
Yeah,
Or
he was promoted.
recruited.
Then
Oh my God.
comes Ozma.
Hold on to your ass.
Everyone goes wild. Everyone's just going fucking crazy. So Ozma's not riding her chariot. She wanted to walk with her subjects and with her favored people. So she's holding everyone's hands. She's just walking about. It's very sweet, really. And for some reason, there's something insane that I thought would never matter again.
I don't see you holding on to your ass. Thank you.
She grabbed it. So for some reason, you know that blue bear that Dinah had?
Mm-hmm.
And you know how its living skin walks about the earth with
you know
us?
how it's hollow?
Yeah.
So that bear is walking right in front of Ozma. It
no.
is humped up, just slinking about all
Ew,
over like a little
fucking
snake.
rug from Aladdin.
And whenever Ozma stops to like greet people and like wave, it lays down flat so she can stand on it.
Oh,
So I
she
guess
just stands. It's not even
so
like
he
she's
just
walking
accepts
over it.
his fate.
I
Yeah, like,
guess
if you're gonna be a
so.
rug, be a
He's
rug.
like, I guess I'm a rug.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm glad that he's back, I guess, but I'm also like, so we had to hear about
No.
him earlier just for this. This
I
is
just
a
want
payoff.
him to. I kind of want him to be put out of his misery.
I know.
I
Just
know,
burn
but how
it.
do you
Is
do
he happy?
that?
Burn
I
him.
don't know.
How do you do it? Because they
Burn him to ashes.
they disassembled the Gump and he's still alive.
If they burned the head, though,
Oh my god, but he'd feel it.
Can Mombi do a switcheroo?
Mombi doesn't have magic anymore. She
Yeah,
had to
she
give it
got
up as part
taken.
of her jail sentence. So here's the thing. That's happening, and we just have to accept it, and I hate it.
Yep.
Behind Ozma and the Rug walk the Cowardly Lion and the Hungry Tiger. Then come the foreign royals. So the crowd goes insane because first is Santa, who, because he's fat and not used to walking, is riding the sawhorse. I don't know why it's delivered that
Yeah,
way.
are they
well,
saying
he's
it
old
like
and
that?
fat. He's not. It's not because he's fat. It's because
It
he's
says
old.
he's fat and not used to walking is the direct quote from the book.
It says that he's
That's-
old.
It says he's fat and not used to walking. I wouldn't just say that, guys.
That's insane.
Santa's tossing toys out for all of the children as he rides by. The
And-
Rills and Nooks are marching behind him.
Yeah, they're all marching close behind. Then there's Queen Zixi of Ease, and she just comes through. Then there's King John Doe, the Rubber Bear, Para Bruin, and Chick the Cherub. They come through. Everyone's still going wild. Queen Mary, or the Queen of Maryland, Queen Mary. The Queen of Maryland and her soldiers come out. King Bud of Noland, and I don't know if we mentioned this, but Princess Fluff is his sister.
Yeah, their brother and sister.
Yeah.
Then the Queen of Ev and them damn kids.
Yep, all of them, but not Langwidere.
Then the Braided Man and the Candy Man come out.
Ugh, which the Candyman grosses me out in general, but can you imagine he's next to the braided man whose hair is
Ugh.
so
Oh,
long.
no,
There's gonna be
there's
like
gonna be
hair
hair
stuck all
everywhere.
over him. They're gonna be like trying to pull
And
each
it's
other
like
apart.
dusty and
Yeah.
hairy
I
and
hate
sticky.
that.
Ugh, yeah.
The Candy Man's like, kill me!
Yeah.
Kill me!
Honestly.
Yeah, he is tacky right
Then
now.
we have King Dox and King Dickabray, and holding up the
Whoa.
back.
King Dickabray.
Is that what I
That is
said?
what you said.
That's so funny. I did not write that. I said Kickabray. Or I meant Kickabray.
You didn't say it.
That is so funny. Anyway. Holding up the back is Johnny Dewitt in a leather apron and smoking a pipe.
Yeah.
He could not be bothered. He was like, I did an eating challenge last night. I can't walk in a parade behind 1,000 little girls. But then behind them is a little local flair. So Dorothy walks in arm in arm with the Scarecrow. Crowd goes wild.
Yeah, they love Dorothy, obviously, and the Scarecrow. He's the
He
most
used to
loved
be
man in the
king,
nation.
Yeah.
Uh,
Polly and Button Bright come in.
Not as much of an applause for them.
They're like, "Who are you? Who's that?"
Yeah, they're like, oh, two children.
Strangers.
Shaggy Man, who actually his like new suit attracts a lot of attention. But then like TikTok and the
He
Wizard.
doesn't have the love magnet anymore, so everything's real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everything he gets now, he never has to question. But then yeah, the TikTok and the Wizard come out. Everyone loves the Wizard. Wogglebug and Jack Pumpkinhead come out. And I don't know why everyone's grouped in twos. It's kind of insane.
I think he was just like, damn, I actually
a
introduced
wedding.
a lot of characters.
Yeah.
Because then Glinda and the Good Witch of the North come out together. Then Belina with her 10 chicks, and she just like keeps like being like, come on, Dorothy. Come on, Dorothy. Let's go, Dorothy.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
Keep moving, Dorothy. Don't slow down the parade, Dorothy.
Then there's the Tin Band of the Winkies, which we heard about earlier in this book, and they are playing the song "There's No Plate Like Tin."
There's no place like home. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. I
it's
misheard
crazy.
you.
Is that a reference? There's no plate like tin, and then there's no place like home.
There's no plate like
There's
tin.
no plate
Yeah.
like 10.
Say it 3 times and you go home.
No, don't say it 3 times.
Huh?
Then all of the palace servants march out, and then the crowd just like
Yeah, they
joins
follow
the
him
line
out.
and goes to the lawn where the party's taking
Just
place.
like Mardi Gras.
Party.
So there's a big pavilion in the middle of the broad green, and there's a big stage in the center so that everyone can see the festivities. So the wizard takes the stage as the master of ceremonies, and he does a juggling routine with glass balls and lighted candles.
Yeah. He has 10s of them in each hand. He's juggling, and I'm like, okay, are you really an old crippled man,
He's juggling
or
like
what's up?
30 candles and balls.
Yeah.
Candles. Like
Lit
on-
candles that
like
Lit?
on candlesticks?
I don't think so. I imagine them just being candle, like any candle you'd buy, you know. But it's none of it makes sense.
No.
So
It's just like wax spraying everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, it
So
seems dangerous.
he does that. He does it successfully. Crowd goes wild. The scarecrow. I don't know. Hannah, do you have an idea of what his talent might be?
I don't know.
You're not gonna guess.
Something reading a dictionary or something.
So this is actually going to be a little bit scarecrow body horror
Oh no.
because of what I'm just now thinking of. Because what he does is a sword swallowing routine.
Oh wait, so you mean he
Oh.
stabbed himself
So,
in the face
it
because
makes
his
me-
mouth doesn't open?
I didn't
and he
think
has
that
no
until just
throat?
now. I think he probably did just go
He just ripped
All
his
the way down
face
his mouth.
open.
But
and
then he just got it
through his
painted.
body.
I know. Well, he
at
wanted to
least
look
he's
good.
he's got someone he can commission now.
Yeah.
At least.
That's
So we don't
true.
know if that's what happened, but
But
that's
what else?
probably what happened.
How horrible.
Yeah.
Then the Tin Woodman does an exhibition of swinging the axe, which is where he whirls his axe around
It's
super
just
duper fast.
It's a baton routine, except with an axe. He's
Did it
like
kill
dun
him?
dun 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 dun,
a
and he's
kiss
throwing
on
it.
the hand, maybe.
Quite continental.
Okay, but I don't. You know what? That's enough of the singing. You're not sucking me in. This is Oz Hour, not fucking American Idol.
Then Glinda performs a magic act that's actually pretty cool.
It's insane.
She makes this big tree grow in the middle of the party, and she makes blossoms appear on the trees, and then the blossoms become delicious fruit called tamornas.
Yep, you heard it. Tamornas. I
you
bet
know.
that'll come up later.
No.
Don't forget that or the La Casa, because both those things we needed to know.
the Lacasa.
Yeah, he's like, I haven't done enough world building.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'll throw in a fruit and a beverage.
So there's so much fruit on the tree, and so like Ozma's servants have just like climbed the tree and like pick the fruit and just throw it down like it's
Oh.
a pinata,
And everyone's
all of
eating.
The people just like come
Everyone's
and get
just-
fruit. And
Everyone has
then
a
I would go to that.
Yeah.
Para Bruin, the rubber bear, he like climbs up in the tree and he drops himself onto the stage and he just boing, boing, boing,
Yeah.
and he does this for several minutes. Like,
And the
that's
crowd
all
goes
he does.
wild.
They love it.
But he's also very, hey guys, look at me. Like, I'm like,
another
okay.
bouncing
I don't
act.
like that he's
Cool.
bouncing
Thank
around
you
like
for
that.
wasting
Me
my
neither.
time.
It's strange.
It
So
would stress me out. I'm like, oh, you're gonna break something. Sit down.
Oh, he's gonna break something.
Glinda waves her wand. She makes the tree disappear. Then the Good Witch of the North takes her turn.
She transforms 10 stones into 10 birds. Then she transforms the 10 birds into 10 lambs. Then those 10 lambs get transformed into 10 girls. The 10 girls then dance.
because we
And
need more
then-
girls there.
But then they get turned back into rocks.
oh my god.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they watch these little girls just like go.
See, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's very like black hole, like
Oh.
when they do it.
Johnny Dewitt's trick is to fuck out of here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna make a flying machine. So he just like really quickly builds a flying machine. He's got a pipe hanging out of his mouth. He's like, see ya.
Yeah. And then he flies away. He flies away.
That's so
It's
funny.
insane. But then the wizard comes out, and this is the final act. He comes out.
It better be good.
It
pretty cool.
actually
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
It doesn't.
So he's
it is.
invented a giant bubble blowing machine that he's hidden under the stage to make it look like he's creating giant bubbles out of nowhere.
Oh.
So it's like kind of a trap door situation where like a big circle opens up on the stage, and then there's a machine underneath that blows the air that has the bubbles, and it blows bubbles like bigger than him, like they're the size of
Yeah.
like cars. And he's also added a special something to the bubbles. So instead of like popping after a few seconds, like a lot of bubbles when they're in the air,
Poison,
these
acid.
Oh yeah, he added poison acid glue, and so the bubbles don't burst for hours.
Yeah,
Like
they're
they'll
s- they
float
got thick
around.
skin.
They're thick skinned.
And
Yeah.
it really seems like magic to the people of Oz who knew nothing about even the common soap bubbles that our children blow with a penny clay pipe and a basin of soap and water.
That's how he gets them.
I just thought of that right off the cuff.
I was gonna say, God, that was so articulate and old timey.
God.
But
Um,
he starts blowing them.
Oh, it's
and
awesome. Everyone
people
loves
love it.
it.
They're shimmering. They're rising up in the air.
He's
they're
like-
reflecting the rainbow.
He's like blowing small bubbles and then blowing a bigger bubble to catch them in.
yeah,
Now, I'm
he's
wondering,
showing
like,
off.
if the bubbles are so thick on the outside, how are they like? How's he catching bubbles inside of other bubbles? That doesn't make very much sense.
I
to
guess
me.
he must blow a few small ones and then put them underneath the next bubble. I don't know how it could possibly
Santa
work.
is like, I love this neat toy. That's awesome. Kids across America are gonna love that this Christmas.
Oh, he's a
Um,
businessman right
Here's,
there.
here's my idea. I would like you to blow up one of these bubbles around my body so that I can use it to float back to the North Pole.
How is he gonna get home in the first place?
Well, the wizard says, "Well, Mr. Claus, can you control the bubble?" But Santa says, "Yeah, I know just about enough magic to make my bubble go home, so that's fine." And he never sees the Earth during the day. He's like, "I usually travel at night. Like, I never get to see the sights.
And I
So
can
like,
just take
I just
my
want to float home,
time."
yeah, and chill out."
The Queen of
so
Maryland.
this gift was for Santa Claus.
Apparently,
so.
he never
I thought
gets
it was
gifts.
Ozma's birthday.
The Queen of Maryland is like, "Ooh, send me home in a bubble too." And Santa's like, "Great idea, you go first."
Yeah, ladies first.
Oh.
yeah, and I'm like,
So
he wants to see if she's gonna
He
drop
made it
300
sound
feet.
all special and good, so someone else would want to do it. And he's
He was
like,
pr- he was
"Let me
probably
take a
gonna
step."
send one of the Riles first. And then he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, the Queen of Maryland. I've never heard
Do a
of you
little
and your
test.
nightmare fuel. You just
let's
go."
do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that scary
That's
wax
not the
doll.
best
Yeah.
test though, because she's like 2 feet tall and
She
he's
weighs
like
nothing,
400
yeah.
pounds.
Yeah.
But she says goodbye to everyone. The wizard blows a bubble around her, and she floats away, blowing kisses as she goes. And then the Princess Fluff is like, "Yeah, that looks great. I want to go home that way too." So apparently, party's over.
How?
Like,
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Bubble! Ooh, I want a bubble."
So his gift was so good that it ended the whole party.
Yeah. Party
So
shut
The
down.
wizard blows a
Sounds like a
bubble around
buzzkill.
Princess Fluff and her brother King Bud and their third Queen Zixie. And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, bubble! We want bubble." So basically, all the foreign dignitaries are sent away in bubbles.
And Santa is using his magic because he knows where all of them live.
How do
Obviously.
they even know? Okay.
So Santa is like, "Hey, like, oh, Queen Zixie, I'm gonna like point at you, and my magic's gonna send your bubble right home." So
Second
like,
star to the right, and
he's
straight
doing
on till
something.
midnight.
Yes, very second star to the left
Okay.
and straight home until midnight. Yeah.
So they all go. Then Button Bright's like, "I want to go home too."
Oh.
I know.
Santa Claus is like, "Well, Mr. Wizard, seems like you need to blow a bubble big enough for me and Mr. Button Bright to get
Oh.
home." Because Santa knows where Button Bright lives.
Yeah.
And Dorothy
I guess
is
he's a
like,
child. He shouldn't go by himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He needs the supervision.
Dorothy is so bummed. She loves her little guy.
Yeah.
But she's like, "No, like, you do need to go home." is
She
the
knows
thing.
his parents are worried.
Yeah, he's
She-
been lost for a while.
Yeah. She hugs and kisses him.
And so does Ozma, and he says
Yeah.
goodbye. And Dorothy's like, "Are you glad to leave us, dear?" And Hannah, what does Button Bright say?
Don't know.
And that's the last don't know of the book.
And then he sits down cross-legged in his
Oh,
little sailor
Little
hat,
sailor boy.
tips it back,
And he
then
goes home
and then
with
he's off.
Santa.
Yeah.
How is that for an ending for Button Bright?
That's a pretty good ending.
Go,
And, like,
Button
what's that conversation gonna look like?
Yeah, so Santa's like, "So, what do you want for Christmas?" Button Bright's like, "Don't know." And he's
Yeah.
like, "Okay, let me know."
And his parents are like, "Where were you?" Don't know.
Yeah, they're like, oh, of
So the
course.
don't knows actually live on.
No, they'll be there forever.
Ozma's like, "So, what'll it be, Dorothy? Bubble or magic belt?" And Dorothy's like, "I'm not getting in one of those
Yeah,
fucking
she's
bubbles."
like,
Are you
I'll take the
kidding?
belt. I'm not gonna
Honestly,
fucking
yeah.
fly in the air.
I'm like, how do you know it's, gonna take you
insane.
home?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
that-
don't get it.
That
Still.
freaks her the fuck
And
out.
Toto's like, "Bow wow."
Yes, he is.
Santa Claus thanks Ozma for her hospitality, and
Yeah, the Riles and Nooks go up and they follow Sansa and Button Bright home, and Dorothy asks Polly if she's gonna go in a bubble, and she's like, "Oh, Santa promised that he would just like send word to my dad, so I'm not that worried." And then all of a sudden, the air around them is just radiant with light. There's this huge rainbow that like kind of misty like forms and lands right on the stage. And Polly does not waste any time.
She's like, "Wow,
Yeah.
fuck you guys!"
Yeah. She says, "Whoa!" And she jumps up. She runs over to the rainbow. She dances over the rainbow. She dances up the bow a little bit. Yeah. And she's starting to shimmer. Her clothes are starting to like turn into clouds. And then like
Ooh.
she melts into the rainbow. She fades into it. And they
Turns
hear
into
her
one.
voice saying, "Farewell, Dorothy and Ozma." And then the whole rainbow
Happy birthday,
turns to
Ozma.
mist and fades away.
Wow. What
Yeah.
an
And
exit.
Dorothy's like,
Pretty good exit.
"Wow, like I lost my button, Bri, and I lost my Polly, and that's okay. Like, glad it happened, I guess."
What about your
but-
BFF, Ozma? Still got
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
But she's like, "Okay, well, the entertainment's over. And now that Dorothy's recent traveling companions are gone, but the Shaggy Man is obviously going to live there now, Ozma was like, "Okay, I guess you can go home now, Dorothy."
Yeah, everyone left the party. Like, I mean, the entertainment's over, so like all the citizens of Oz are going back. They're still partying. They're gonna go home and get drunk at the bar and like
Yeah.
black out before the night's over.
Yeah.
So everyone's having a good time still.
It's
But
still
it's-
Mardi Gras.
But it's like
Yeah.
mid-afternoon, so they all go home that night. Dorothy has breakfast with, the Tin Woodman and the Scarecrow and like her friends, and Ozma and stuff. So like, they all have their little night. But then it's a pretty quiet night. They don't do anything crazy. And then before bed, Dorothy says goodbye to everybody because Ozma said that she's going to just teleport Dorothy home in the middle of the night while she's sleeping. So she and Toto are just
Yeah.
going to wake up in Kansas.
So Dorothy's having a little laugh as she falls asleep about like, Aunt Em and Uncle Hen are gonna be so surprised when I come downstairs for dinner tomorrow.
Yeah,
They're
which
such
is-
dumb hags.
Crazy. Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to walk
that's
downstairs
really
for eggs.
scary, Dorothy.
yeah. What?
It's crazy.
It's always scary when you disappear for so long.
Yeah.
But
And Dorothy crawls into bed in her nice white linen bed in the Emerald City. She hugs Toto close
falls
to her.
asleep with Toto in her
Yeah,
arms.
she's exhausted and she falls asleep quite willingly. And that's the end of chapter 24, the birthday celebration. Notably, no cake. But, Blake, what would you call that?
The last don't know.
That's a good one. And that is the end of book 5, The Road to Oz. Isn't that crazy?
I really liked that one. I love Button Bright. That was a fun one.
Love a little button bright.
Yeah, that one was better than the fourth one. I
And
would say.
next one, things are gonna get crazy. We are gonna get so much interesting writing from L. Frank Baum. And the next book is the only one that Blake and I have read in its entirety. Or the last one we've read in its
Like the
entirety.
only one.
Sorry.
We've read
It's the last one. So that'll be interesting too going forward. So
Thank you for listening to Oz Hour. Please join us next time as we begin Book 6, The Emerald City of Oz. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Oz Hour Podcast for the latest on everything Oz. Oz Hour, created and hosted by Blake Stone and Wyatt Swingham. Co-hosted by Hannah Aguirre. Audio production by Charlie Johnson. Theme music written and performed by Rudy Klobus. Cover art by Valentin Lucas.